The Bold and the Beautiful, star Heather Tom addresses the show's controversial assault storyline. Soap operas like The Bold and the Beautiful capture audiences' attention with dramatic moments and controversial storylines. Series star Heather Tom breaks her silence on the controversial storyline that didn't sit right with fans over the summer. Characters Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, and Luna Nozowa, Lisa Yamada, were caught in a recent plot involving sexual assault. Luna becomes infatuated with Will to the point that she pretends to be his girlfriend, Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace. She goes as far as assaulting him while he's drunk and becomes pregnant. The Bold and the Beautiful fans weren't on board with the series, calling it an assault and taking advantage, instead of a rape encounter. To be honest, if it were my son, I would view what happened as an issue of consent and that there wasn't much consent happening in that instance, said Tom to People. And so yeah, I would view it as a sexual assault. Tom, who also serves as a writer and director for the series, believes they chose certain terminology for a specific reason. She also explains how the characters in the series decide how they react to the plot and how they view the assault. I think that the terminology is what they've chosen to use, and I think that characters can defend that or not, said Tom. Katie does get to where she does definitely think that her son was assaulted. She definitely uses that terminology. She definitely didn't necessarily start off there, she explained about her character, Will's mother. As a mother and woman, Tom adds that talking about consent is very important, as she has instilled the same values in her son. The actor ultimately describes the conversation surrounding the plot as complicated and believes the series has done a good job of tackling issues that maybe didn't make their way onto nighttime television. This story was originally reported by Parade on November 24, 2025, where it first appeared in the news section. Add Parade as a preferred source by clicking here. There's a certain weight that comes with long-running soap operas, decades of history, a tapestry of interwoven families, love affairs, betrayals, triumphs, and tragedies. In a world like The Bold and the Beautiful, these storylines are more than mere entertainment. They become a mirror for cultural conversations, an emotional playground, and sometimes, a battleground for social issues. When Heather Tom, who plays Katie Logan on the show, and also works behind the scenes as a writer and director, spoke out recently about one of the most controversial arcs in BNB's recent history, she held up that mirror, and people saw more than just reflection. They saw fracture lines. The story that sparked outrage. At the heart of the controversy is the storyline involving Will Spencer, played by Crew Morrow, and Luna Nozowa, Lisa Yamada. In the plot, Luna, obsessively infatuated with Will, pretends to be his girlfriend and orchestrates a moment where she has sex with him while he is highly intoxicated. She later becomes pregnant with his child. Parade +2 Yahoo News Malaysia +2. Fans reacted strongly. Many argued that the show's framing of the event avoids calling it rape or sexual assault. Instead, characters suggest that Luna took advantage of Will. Parade +2 Yahoo Lifestyle +2 on social media, voices were loud and persistent. Luna raped Will. Period. One post declared. Do better #bold and beautiful. I don't want to keep seeing drunk, young folks getting sexually assaulted. Yahoo Lifestyle. Another criticized the show's creative direction. The writers need to stop repeating the same essel. Now she's a rapist besides being a murderer. Underneath these furious reactions lies a broader tension. How to portray consent, accountability, and trauma, especially when the victim is male, and when the perpetrator is female, and when the show's own language feels too soft. Heather Tom's response. A nuanced stand. Enter Heather Tom, not just Katie Logan, but also a creative voice shaping BNB from within. In interviews with People and Parade, Tom directly addressed the controversy. Parade +2 what she said carried weight, not as a PR statement, but as a deeply personal, moral reflection. To quote her, "If it were my son, I would view what happened as an issue of consent. There wasn't much consent happening in that instance." Yahoo News Malaysia. So yeah, I would view it as a sexual assault. Yahoo News Malaysia. That statement alone is radical in its simplicity, naming what many fans feel but what the show's dialogue hesitates to label. For Tom, The story is not an abstract dramatic twist, it touches real values she holds dear. She continued, "For me personally, as a person, as a woman, as a mother, consent is very important. I use this terminology with my child, and I think it definitely is not a gender-conditional thing." Yahoo News Malaysia. In other words, whether the victim is male or female, the issue of consent remains central. She doesn't minimize. She doesn't avoid. The terminology may be chosen by the writers, but Tom refuses to distance herself from what she believes happened. To her character, Katie, this journey is also real. Initially, Katie doesn't frame the event as assault. But over time, Tom says, Katie does get to where she definitely thinks that her son was assaulted. She definitely uses that terminology. Parade. That gradual shift mirrors a journey of recognition, a parent coming to terms with a painful, complicated reality. And Tom's concern goes beyond the fictional world. She draws a line from the screen to how she raises her own son. She has spoken early and often with him about consent, making it a foundational value. Yahoo News Malaysia. In her view, the storyline is not just soap opera, but an opportunity to talk about culture, responsibility, and change. The bigger picture, soap operas and the burden of social issues. What Heather Tom's comments highlight is a tension that has always existed in daytime drama. When should a soap be just entertainment, and when should it serve as a platform to explore serious societal problems? Tom argued that The Bold and the Beautiful has long tackled difficult subjects. "I feel like soaps have always been at the forefront of it," she said. Yahoo News Malaysia. Because the audience knows the characters so deeply, there is room to let them go through intense, nuanced experiences, and to let those experiences change them. Yet critics insist, framing a story as taking advantage is not enough. Some argue that by not calling it rape, the show dilutes the gravity of what happened. That criticism is not just semantic, it touches on how media shapes public understanding of consent and sexual violence. Beyond that, some fans are frustrated by what they see as a recycled plot. This is not the first time BNB has dealt with a non-consensual encounter involving intoxication. Parade. To them, it feels less like brave social commentary and more like a trope being repurposed, perhaps without sufficient reflection. In response, the show's co-head writer, Michael Minnis, has hinted that the fallout from the Will Luna incident will be serious. According to Minnis, the Spencer family will rally, the event will strain relationships, and consequences may follow. Yahoo. In theory, this could be a moment where the show leans into accountability. In practice, viewers are watching closely, demanding that the story not be swept under the rug.